most of the time it's deserved. No, did I say that? Terrific job. All right, you ready? Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Cindy Gillespie, Vice President of Human Resources at Amy's Kitchen. For the past 13 and a half years, Cindy Gillespie's been the head of Human Resources at Amy's Kitchen, Inc., the top-selling brand of natural and organic convenience foods in the United States. Amy's Kitchen, Inc. is a family-owned business committed to producing great-tasting food made from the finest quality of natural and organic ingredients. Amy's Kitchen employs over 2,500 employees in 3 main facilities. In the summer of 2015, Amy's opened their first, can I say this in this town? Drive-through restaurant. Well, but I can say those words, can I? And it has been a huge success. Prior to Amy's Kitchen, Cindy was the Vice President of Human Resources for New Zealand Milk Products, Inc., a foreign-owned marketing and importing company for 14 years. And she has over 30 years experience in human resources. She must have started really young. She earned her Business Administration and Industrial Relations degree from California State University, Hayward, now Cal State East Bay. In addition to her work at Amy's, Cindy's a member of Northwest Regional Board for Canine Companions and a member of the South County Tomorrow's Leaders Today Business Committee. Cindy is an active member of the Santa Rosa Sunrise Rotary and a graduate of Leadership Santa Rosa Class 24, XXIV. Please welcome Cindy Gillespie.
Okay? Yes. Good, okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to talk about Amy's newest project. I'm going to talk a little bit about the company first. For those of you, many of you know about Amy's, but sometimes it's surprising when I run into people that, maybe have seen the products but didn't know that we're a local company, started in Petaluma. And then I'll talk more about our drive-through project and how that's going. Okay, obviously. So a little history. Amy's is a family-owned business. It was started by Andy and Rachel Berliner. And it's a great story. If you've heard it, sorry, but we always like to tell it. Andy and Rachel, vegetarians, and Rachel was pregnant with Amy and bedridden at the time. So they had a business, and it wasn't doing so well, but they were worried about needing to have an income, and really concerned about putting their daughter through college. That was, when you hear them tell a story, that's what Rachel always talks about. So they both were raised in a interesting environment. Rachel was raised in LA, and her parents had an organic garden. This was many years ago when it wasn't as popular as it is today. And then Andy's family was, his mother was a very good cook, and his dad was in the candy and bakery industry. So both of them had a lot of food in their life and really believed in wholesome, really great tasting food. So as the story goes, Rachel sent Andy to the store to get some food that they could heat up because she couldn't cook. She loves to cook for people, but at the time she needed something more convenient. So Andy went to the little health food store, which is where vegetarian meals were sold at that time, brought home what he could, and as they described it, they didn't even really want to feed it to their dog, that it was not good tasting, and so the opportunity sort of presented itself to them. They did a lot of soul searching, decided they wanted to go into the food business, and decided to make their first frozen meal. So we are a frozen manufacturing company, and we make, as we said, we make natural and organic frozen meals. Any idea or anybody know what the first product of Amy's Kitchen was?
Lasagna. Burrito?
No, those are all the popular products. But if you think back when you used to, I don't know, when I was younger, my mom would take me to the store when we were going to have a babysitter and I get to pick out something frozen. It was in a blue box, and it was small.
Chicken pot pie.
There you go. The Swanson pie, right? Those were so popular. So the first product Amy's made was a vegetarian pot pie, made with all natural ingredients, flour, butter, that kind of thing, made a real crust. And it was very popular, and that's really how the company took off. This is the farmhouse that they started in Petaluma, so it is a local company, started in Petaluma. They still live here. We still use this building on the left, on your left, for our meetings. It's a little bit nicer now, but you know, it's a lovely property. And you know, fast forward to today, we have 2,500 employees. We're about $500 million in sales, which is big for us and growing. We have 3 locations. In Sonoma County, we have a manufacturing plant in Santa Rosa with about 900 employees. We have a couple satellite offices and a satellite plant in Santa Rosa. That was where we started. That's kind of our R&D location. That's where we create a lot of our products. In Petaluma, we have a headquarters office and about 100 employees in Petaluma. And then in 2006, we started a plant in Medford, Oregon. We have about 900 employees there. It's a great plant for us. It was a greenfield site, so we built it the way we wanted. And then about a year ago in December, we were running out of capacity and we had to move quickly, and we found a ex-Heinz plant in Pocatello, Idaho. So we started that a year ago. We're about 300 employees there. There's a little star here way on the other side of the country. That's in New York. We have some property in New York. We're planning to expand there next. And also probably in between, we're going to start a manufacturing facility in Portugal because we are growing our business. So international brand is kind of surprising. People don't always know that. We make over 250 frozen products. It's a great company, great story for Sonoma County. So one of the things that is really important to Amy's is the food and the quality of the food. We had a really interesting, it's good to come here today to reflect on this, because yesterday we had a session with the owners about our vision and our purpose and why they started the business, and told many stories. But really it's about convenience. So when they started this company, it was about providing a nourishing, wholesome meal that for people who are busy. So it used to be like healthy food for busy people. We can't use those words anymore, but the whole healthy thing is well, you know, regulated. But that's where we started. So it's always been about convenience and providing something for people who are busy but who care about food. So we use all real ingredients, and we cook our food. An interesting story is when we took over the Heinz plant, the first product we made there was a mac and cheese, so whoever said that's one of our great products. And we hired a lot of people. It was very exciting for us because we hired a lot of people who knew food manufacturing, or at least we thought they did. And on the assembly lines and stuff, it was great. But what we learned that Heinz did is they assembled food. They didn't really make food. So we were starting to make a sauce in our kitchen and for the mac and cheese, and we had butter and milk and cheese. And the cooks that we hired were just kind of didn't really understand what we were doing because they reconstituted sauces, right? So the powder would come in, they put in the liquid, they throw it in, because they were making this very similar product. They were making the Weight Watchers, you know, little entrees like we did. So, and they said, well, why do you do that? It's so much harder. And it's like, well, yeah, it is. But we do it because we care. We have compassion and we have compassion, and we want to nurture, and we want people to eat really good food. And we know you don't always have time to do that, so we want to provide that into your kitchen. And the typical consumer for Amy's is not just somebody who eats, you know, convenience food. A lot of times it's people who cook a lot, but sometimes there's that day where you're just so busy you don't have time, but you would feel comfortable serving one of our products to your family. And our owners, that's one of their, you know, the things that they talk about the most is that what we put on, you know, your plate, we should feel like we could serve you in our own home. So it's very important. If you haven't ever tried that's enough of a pitch. If you haven't ever tried our products, they taste really good. They're very authentic, and you know, and they're healthier. So talk about the restaurant. So what happened? So I have a video, Andy will tell a little bit of the story, but it is, if you think about that convenience thing again, we were approached many times to open a restaurant. We didn't feel like that was in our, you know, on our core business, but it just kept coming up. And so Andy's thought was, well, what about something that's convenient and healthier? So I'm going to play a little video, and it'll tell the story.
is family owned and operated, and because of that, we're free to do as we wish. And that's something you can only do if you have only yourself to answer to.
As a mom, it's a great thing because there's really nothing out there that is healthy. It really just isn't a fast food restaurant where they eat their kids.
Every year since we started, more people that finally got to the point where we just felt like we had to give people what they want. People say, I pick up my kids in soccer, they want to stop and get a fast meal. And I just feel so guilty stopping at a regular fast food restaurant that, why don't you open a restaurant? Please open a restaurant. So, we're doing it.
My parents never let me go to fast food restaurants, and I always wanted to because all my friends did. It always looked really delicious, but they said it was not very healthy for me. Yeah, the idea of having a place where I could just drive through and actually eat something healthy that my mom would allow would be awesome.
Ingredients are really important to us. Ever since the beginning, we've used only organically grown vegetables and grains, nothing genetically modified, and the restaurant will be exactly the same.
And we can do what we want that way, and we can listen to people. You know, they can come in and say, hey, you know, we'd really like you to do this in the salad. And, oh, you know, that's a good idea. So we'll listen to our customers.
And for the first time, we get to really be with our customers. People will bring in grandparents, parents, kids. Yeah, the whole families will be there, and that's very, when the company feels a part of the family. And now that family is extended to our customers that buy our foods, and now it will extend to the community, the people that stop and eat at our fast food restaurant.
Go to the next slide. So, first a disclaimer, it's not healthy food, I have to say that, because if any of you visit the drive-thru, you can get a burger and fries, and for most people, you won't consider that healthy. But what we say is a healthier alternative, right? So it's the food that you get there is made from real ingredients, where, you know, so we were, someone was telling me the other day that the McDonald's French fries has 16 ingredients in it. Ours has 3, potato, salt, sunflower oil. So that's the difference. That's the difference of what we're trying to achieve. So we tell you a little bit about how we got there, which is it's typical of how Amy's Kitchen started. No business plan, just went out there, learned by doing. Andy is a relationship person, calls everybody. He actually called Swanson's and asked them how to make a pot pie before he started his company. That's what he said his words. So same thing with the restaurant. We thought about 2 of the things that are always so important to us. One, the food, and second, the design of the restaurant. What we learned later is we should have thought a little bit more about the restaurant operations because we didn't really know what we were doing, and it's been a crazy 6 months. But one of the things that people who have heard of our story think that may have a misconception that we sort of reheat the Amy's frozen food and then send it out the drive-through window. We don't do that. It's all of the recipes were designed for the restaurant. So we do sell a veggie burger in the freezer case, but this veggie burger is different. It's designed for the restaurant. And we even do sell mac and cheese there, but it's a special recipe because it's baked, nothing's microwaved in the whole restaurant. But it was designed around a fast food experience, so burgers, fries, that sort of thing, very high quality ingredients. And again, typical of Amy's, we care a lot about just everything that goes into our food. So when we wanted a pickle for our burger, we checked around and we found a company locally that brines our pickles for us. So we have a specially brined pickle. French fries is another good story. Chef tested a lot of French fries, really wanted to find one that would hold up, that would stay crunchy. And the best the best potato that we found was round. And whereas an oblong potato, you get more French fries out of, or you at least get a longer French fry. But we went with the round potato because we just felt like the quality was so much better. So it's the history of Amy's Kitchen, and because we're a family-owned business, we can make those kinds of decisions. Everything, next slide is, but so everything in the restaurant is vegetarian, though our customers aren't just vegetarian. But we also have products for all diets. You can get it vegan, gluten-free. Everything comes in a variety of options. And we're very committed to sustainability. We have no GMOs in any of our products. The building, if you've seen it, has a living roof, so it adds heat, and we have a system that waters the roof. Most of our ingredients are organic. And there's another interesting story that I actually heard yesterday, is that when Amy's was originally started, we weren't necessarily going to be an organic company, and this is a very typical, just to give you a sense of what Amy's Kitchen is like. So the owners were telling us these stories, and one of the stories was that Andy, it was about their choice to go organic. And he read a story about how farm workers were, being poisoned by all the pesticides that they were working with in their children. And when he tried to tell us this story yesterday, he teared up and he couldn't even finish it because this is so personal to him. And that's everything we do is around that sort of love and compassion for food and feeding people. What else? So we did the menu. The design of the restaurant is really beautiful. And in July of last year, we opened. So opened as a soft opening. We still have the chain link fence around, just kind of opened the doors, and we're just, inundated with people, amazed at how many people showed up and wanted to try our food. So for the first, I would say 2 or 3 weeks, we all pitched in. I had a friend in Oregon call me and say, "Wow, I heard you work in a fast food restaurant now. What happened?" That was my second job. But we all, because we had no idea what, how successful and, wonderful this concept was. We planned the business around a typical fast food drive-in restaurant. So in that environment, drive-thrus typically are 70% drive-through, 30% in-room dining. We're the opposite. So we created this lovely environment, which may work for us, maybe not, but we have a lot more people who come to the restaurant to eat. So something we'll be thinking about as we grow the business. In terms of what we projected, what would be our sales, we were, in the beginning, I would say 3 to 4 times what we thought and what we built the restaurant for, which becomes a little bit of a problem because we can't make all the food in the restaurant, it's too small. We're probably now still running at least 2, and a lot of times 3 times what we would have thought in a new fast food restaurant. And we did get a lot of advice from people in that industry, so it wasn't just a shot in the dark in what we were thinking. So amazingly successful. So who comes to our restaurant? That's, I think, one of the most interesting things because it's a lot of different people. And that's, every time I go in there, I'm kind of amazed at just the difference and the variety of people that you see in the Amy's drive-thru and in the restaurant. So a lot of young families, which is what we thought was a great market for us. Those soccer moms that are driving around and just eating food for those kids in the car. Great place to bring them. But another population that we see a lot in the restaurant are older people, retired people. And I think it's because it's affordable, it's healthier, and it's a great ambiance. So it's a fun place to go, and you can still, if you're on a fixed income or something like that, you can come and enjoy a meal. And then just, young people and people from all over come to the restaurant and are really enjoying it. These are pictures from our Instagram account. Media, we got a huge amount of media when we opened. Didn't expect it. I think a lot of this was a little bit surprising to us, but we got a lot of media coverage, and we continue to get asks from all over the world to put up Amy's drive-thru. It's kind of amazing. Constantly, people are interested in the concept. Some more of the media coverage. One of the things that I'll touch on is, like, a lot of people want to know, like, the whole Sebastopol stories inside here. So we originally were going to have the drive-thru in Sebastopol, and thought we would love to, I guess, is the way we looked at it. And the Pasta Bella restaurant, you guys are familiar with, it used to be, okay, so the woman who opened that, interestingly enough, used to work for Amy's. So we always had a connection to that restaurant, and it seemed like a great location for us. And unfortunately, the city didn't want any more drive-thrus, and that was our concept. We really wanted it to be you can kind of go back to that origin. We wanted it to be a convenience restaurant. But I think it's been a better story for us to be on that 101 corridor. But I think the other part about the story that's interesting is how did we end up in Rohnert Park? Because all of us, the executives of the company were saying, Rohnert Park, that doesn't seem like the right place. We're healthy, we're organic, we're vegetarian. How's that all going to work? And Andy was very frustrated because he was having a difficulty finding a place to put this new idea. And literally was driving through Rohnert Park and looking around, saying, there are so many fast food restaurants here. Drove to the planning department and said, hey, here's my idea, what do you guys think? And they said, come on in. And that's really the story of how we ended up in Rohnert Park. But if you think about it from a business model, if we can be successful down the street from In-N-Out, across the street from Taco Bell and all those other fast food restaurants, it's a great test. And then also just being on the 101 corridor, we didn't realize how far people would drive to try the Amy's restaurant. So it's much more convenient for them to get off the freeway there. So that was our story about Sebastopol. And I think for us, like I said, it probably worked out better. We are very family oriented. This picture on your left is the whole family, Andy and Rachel. Amy, obviously the company was named after Amy. She just got married. That's her husband, Jace. They're expecting their first child. Very exciting for Amy's. We have also the wedding video as part of our employee meetings. It's a very family oriented group. Grandma Eleanor is in the front, and then Rachel's brother and a wife and their son all work for the company. If you're in the Amy's drive-thru, you'll probably see any one or all of these people making sure your dining experience is exceptional. Very community-oriented company as well. When we talk about what we do, we say we do the right thing. It's really important to us, choose the right ingredients, not do things that are going to hurt people through food. We are an organic leader. We're actually a pioneer. If you go back in the history of the company, we've definitely been considered a pioneer in our industry. Non-GMO, we cater to special diets. And who knows what's next? So questions?
We just happen to have a spare drive-through restaurant.
So I heard. Right. I think another question we get a lot is, so what is next? Are we planning this to be a bigger company? And definitely, yes, the concept has always been to have multiple restaurants. We will not franchise. Get a lot of requests for franchising. It's not the model currently. But I think because it's so successful and so beyond what we thought, our strategy is going to be to put in some flagship restaurants in different communities. So we probably wouldn't do another one in Stone County right now.
I'm curious what you offer for beverages to complement the healthy food.
We offer an amazing lemonade that's made from lemons. Right, no powder. So our lemonade is crazy. People love it. We have 2 types of shakes. Amy's makes a non-dairy frozen dessert that's made that is not made from milk, and we offer a shake made of that. So you can get a chicken shake, and then it has almond milk in it, I think. And then we do a regular milkshake, and then we do natural sodas. It's kind of interesting. No branded sodas. So it's go to most fast food restaurants, that sort of branding is advertising. They get money to have the Pepsi in the Pepsi distributor. We make our own natural sodas. So they're good. People like them.
So you have a plan in Medford, any plans to put a restaurant up there?
I know he's moving to Shady Cove. I know where he's going. Not currently. I don't know that Medford, and it doesn't have a big enough probably draw for us right now. But someday our employees really want one up there.
Well, In-N-Out just came in last year.
I know. Yeah.
I want to thank you for providing so much food to the food bank. The Rainier Denver Food Bank, we really stocked their shelves, and it goes to a good cause. Thank you very much.
We love to support the food banks, and as a business, it's certainly part of our philosophy, again, about feeding people. And then why we get so generous at times is because we make a lot of mistakes. So you guys have the benefit of that.
Great. That's it.
Wait.
One more question.
more through.
How many of your employees are salaried, and what is the hourly wage that you pay?
So in the restaurant,
In the whole group?
in the whole company, I don't know how many of our employees are salaried. I would say 300 to 400 maybe. And we do pay a little bit above minimum wage in both the restaurant and in our entry-level manufacturing jobs. But that's one level position where you come in with absolutely, you don't need any skills, and we train you, and then you can move up into other manufacturing roles. So, yeah, try to be as responsible as possible.
Just wondering, where in Sonoma County, which retail outlet carries most of Amy's products?
Probably Whole Foods and Oliver's would have the most variety, because like I said, we have over 250 products, and they come in and out. You can get Amy's at Costco, you can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Target. Target actually is carrying a lot of our products right now, but if you want to see the whole line, we do frozen foods, we also do soup, somebody mentioned that, so we do canned soup, and we do some sauces and salsas, and that sort of thing. So yeah, try them, they're amazing.
All right. Open our next task is drawing.
Okay.
Fish out. Good. Waiting tickets are in there. Okay. Just draw one. You can read the last 4 digits.
6948, is that what you think, or is that? Oh, I can bring my glasses, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll be quick. 6948. Try again. All right. This would be 6923.
Oh, I got it.
Again?
Buy a ticket.
Okay, that's fine. For the aces in there. Did you bring a prize? You tell all our speakers. Bring food. All right.
Here's my sweet cards, look at this. What am I doing?
An ace.
And ace.
Yeah. 3. Oh, well, we do have zero in front.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, that is. Thank you. Who did? We're just Matt Whitman. Thank you. Thought you were on the slide. Marty Webb does.
No camel joke, but
Good.
I want to also, I'll make an announcement. Next week, we're having a very fine 17-year-old young man speak to us. It's Scout Week, and he's going to tell us about his Eagle Scout service project that he put together that took many hours to do, and we'll have a slideshow with that from the young man. He's very good. Okay, joke in preparation of St. Patrick's Day. This is a joke about the Irish, and this happened in Dublin last year at St. Patrick's Day. Did you hear about the 25 Irish people that drowned? They were river dancing.
Good.